Up next, we have a very exciting unveiling that's waiting for us. We have the knowledge report for the year on Retail Reinvention Paradigm. This report is going to be presented by PwC. To do so, I'd like to invite to the stage Mr. Ravi Kapoor, partner and lead retail and consumer, PwC. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Ravi Kapoor. Welcome, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We will start off by unveiling our report, and I will request my fellow partners who have graced this event to please join me on the stage. Sanjay, Raghav, Smriti, Falguni, Bijal, please come in. All of us have played an important role in making this report a reality. I'll request Dr. Bhatt, Mr. Kumar, please join us as well in unveiling the report. Girish, sorry, I didn't see you. Please come in. Thank you for your patience, and what I will just do is after the unveiling, I'll just take few minutes. I see the clock at 4 minutes. Maybe I'll keep it at 4. And I forgot Kunj. So Kunj, and so my fellow partner was sitting in a different table, so apologies for that. So what I will do is I will just take a brief moment to talk about the report. So we have been associated with RAI, with Dr. Bhatt, Mr. Kumar for a couple of years now. We did a report last year as well on how India shops, comparing the practices between Tier 1 and Tier 2, 3 India from an online perspective. So we thought this year that let's do and try to address the elephant in the room. All of us have been talking about omnichannel, all of us have been talking about retail proliferation. So we said that, okay, everybody understands retail is becoming very diverse, but what does it mean from multiple stakeholders' perspective? So we kind of looked at the 3 most important stakeholders, which is the consumer. That's all we are here for. We looked at it from a channel perspective. What are the channels trying to do to manage this complexity which is happening in the retail landscape? And finally, we talked to multiple brands. Okay, so brands are there to serve both the channels and the consumer. So how are they managing this game? So it's a report which kind of combines the insights which we have built by talking to retailers, consumers, and brands and building up the insights. So if I can request the slides to move in as I'm talking, I guess I'll have to click up. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so we are calling it the Retail Reinvention Paradigm. What does it mean? This is the report I was talking about. And we spoke to 800 odd consumers, 1,000, 1,500, 1,500 retailers, 20 plus CXOs to build the insights in this report. So essentially what we are trying to do here is to just put in some numbers. Fundamentally what we are seeing here is that there is going to be a decisive shift in the channel landscape. We believe that in the next 5 years, almost 30% of the channels are going to become organized. India is a land of shopkeepers, right? 12 million, 13 million retailers, traditional trade, kirana, multi-brand outlets. You go across the length and breadth of the country and you see that many diverse sources of self-employment. But fundamentally what we are seeing is that the retail landscape is going to become much more organized with the increasing wealth in the country. And hence it has got profound implications of what does it mean for brands. So we spoke to retailers as I told earlier, 1,500 of them, and we asked them that what does it mean for you when you see these proliferations of e-commerce, Q-commerce. I can imagine every one of us sitting in the room have become a habitual user of Q-commerce, but we have eaten somebody's lunch, isn't it? From a daily consumption pattern that we typically used to. And retailers, to be honest, are no exception. And they did tell us that we do believe that the growth of online commerce, Q-commerce is fundamentally impacting our lives. But when we try to just, what we picked up was that almost 60% of them believe that it's a threat to us. And this is across tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 India. But actually when we did ask them, when we collaborated with data, when we asked them that how much actually your business has kind of come down, it was roughly coming to around 1/3. So there is a difference in what they perceive the threat to be and what actually it is when you triangulate the two data points. But I think the most important point, again, we are trying to say here is that how omnipresent is omni-channel capability, and this is the need of the hour. For all of us sitting in the room, that how well we embrace this whole concept, and we need to find the right balance. Like in India, everything moves at different levels in different stages, and we need to straddle multiple strategies together depending upon whom we are talking to, where we are talking to, what we are selling. So the way we looked at it is that consumer is definitely adopting omni-channel as a behavior. Channels are responding to how consumers are actually going omni. And then we are talking about what brands are doing. So this is the consumer perspective, and you can see when we spoke to around 800 odd consumers across the length and breadth of the country, there are certain categories which have really been embraced from an omni-channel point of view. Consumers are preferring brands which have the omni-channel capability because it gives them the flexibility to interact with the brand the way they feel fit. So some of these categories may not be very disruptive in the sense of what we believe about it. So whether it is fashion apparel, whether it is sports and fitness, beauty and personal care, these are some of the top 3-4 categories, packaged food, where we believe the omni-channel adoption level of the consumers is one of the highest. Furthermore, when we talk to kiranas, and we actually had the pleasure of tying up with Kirana Club. Kirana Club calls itself as the social media of kiranas, and they kind of rolled out a small survey on our behalf. And they asked the kiranas that which categories you have seen the maximum decline in frequency, and across metro tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And pretty much what you see from what the consumers are adopting omni-channel and what the kiranas are telling, there is a kind of consistency in what we are seeing. So consumers are adopting certain certain categories where they are comfortable interacting in the online space as well, and that is kind of impacting the lives of Kirana. And that's the point that we are trying to land home here, that if we have to really follow what the consumers are going to do, then something has to give away in the sense of what channel capabilities needs to come into play. So we talked about what are the tailwinds created by online commerce, and these are some of the benefits. So online is not a black and white story. There are obviously shades of gray. And actually we have heard channels telling us that actually online has helped us as well in driving our business objectives. So whether it is in terms of creating awareness, whether it is in terms of stocking things which are actually seeing the demand in the online channel and they are kind of riding onto that, or whether it is in terms of consumers coming into the stores more because they may not get the kind of availability which the online channels should be having because of supply chain issues. So moving on to the physical channel, so they're able to drive traffic into the stores and possibly keeping categories which are possibly not available in the online space. So there are certain demand patterns which are getting enabled in the online space, which the physical channels are actually getting the benefit of. And there are obviously channels are also facing certain headwinds. We all understand the kind of options which an online channel offers, the kind of pricing power which they give, the kind of convenience that they give. So it's a kind of a tussle between what is enabling some of the physical channels and what is kind of coming in the way of offline channels doing greater business as online channel picks up. When we look at from a brand owner point of view, we believe that these are certain new capabilities which the brands have to really start building and talking about. So please do understand that consumers are everywhere, categories are getting consumed across. So what are some of the newer capabilities which brand owners need to really start building? From making sure that you have got the right product market fit. We heard multiple speakers in the morning today where product innovation seems to be at the center of what it takes to be a successful business, and that will not go out of fashion ever. We are talking about ability to make sure that you're not entertaining channel conflicts. So managing your pricing and promotions becomes super, super important. Obviously, with the diversity of channels and consumer and the demand, supply chain agility becomes very, very critical. What we also believe is some of the newer sources of revenue, which we call as how do you handle digital media, not only to talk about your products, but essentially become more relevant to the right TG. How do you handle this proliferation of media channels becomes a critical capability. And a couple of other pieces is around the innovation cycles have to become sharper and shorter and more relevant. We heard in the morning Arvind brands talking about the cycle of apparel build coming down from 9 to 10 months to 90 to 120 days. And that's the reality of life. And obviously data analytics becomes super important because we are talking about first party data now where the brands know about the end consumers like you and us. So what we are essentially talking about is that PwC has built a reinvention framework. Reinvention is a very important capability for us. We have been investing around what we call as a business model reinvention. This is a part of that. We essentially believe that the utility, and from a brand owner perspective, we are saying that utility is going to be a function of whom we are talking to, and we are talking about what kind of channels these particular consumers are going to go for. And hence, how do you maximize these utilities, which are essentially these 5 utilities that you see on the right-hand side. These are utilities from an end consumer perspective. So how do brands need to interact with channels and categories to make sure that they are making the best value for money offer? They are giving the maximum convenience. They are offering the maximum amount of assortment and variety and the width of SKUs which are available. They are giving the right kind of experience, and obviously in that process giving the best kind of engagement. So we have built a whole reinvention framework, a set of questions which helps you to prioritize which channel for which category for which kind of consumers in which market I should be actually doing and balancing in a way that will maximize the utility of the end consumer. We have built this framework. It's in the report as well, to a fairly simplistic degree. We'll love to have conversations with relevant brand owners to really bring it to life for you. So that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for your patience listening, and it's been a good exercise for all of us here at PwC to really bring this thought of combining multiple stakeholders together for you. Thank you for that. Thank you.